Hello dear students and welcome back. In today's video we'll learn about users permissions. If you remember in the previous video I talked about different users and the user rule and the super user, and that was for a reason so we can learn about file permissions. Let's open the terminal here, and once I open, by default it opens in the home directory. So I go to this file or folder and open terminal here, it will open in the document. So easy way to navigate quickly. Now let's list all, or sorry, long format so we can see the user permissions for the content.txt file. Now you can see here we see the permissions, and these are dash rw dash r dash dash r dash dash. Very weird. So let's have it here. Let me copy this. Control Shift C, Control Shift V, and here it is. So I will separate them and like so. All right, and let me remove, not remove this one. Let me make space here and remove this one here. So these permissions are like this: read, write, execute, read, write, execute, read, write, execute. All right. And the first set of permissions are for the user, the second set for the group, and the final set for others. So the user is basically the owner of this file. All right. The group is so in Linux we can create a group and organize users inside this group, so we can make user management. We'll talk about that, don't worry about that. But the thing is, we have user, group, and others. Others are any or everyone else in the world. So you can think of this like maybe since Linux is mostly used in web servers, once you request a file from a web server, that web server will gladly serve you this file. So you have the permission to read, right? So R, but you don't have a permission to write to the file, and you don't have a permission to execute the file if it is executable. All right. So here what we are going to learn is how we can modify these permissions and set them for different user, and the different ways we can do that. And the way we can do that using change mode, right? So change and modify permissions. All right. And the way we can use that, we have let me show you this one here very quickly, then say content.txt. Now if I rerun this, now you can see all groups, user, group, and others have now the permission to write, read, execute, write, read, execute, write, read, and execute. All right, so all of them have this permission, and the reason for that I used 777. Now I can say change mode 700, then content.txt, and now if I rerun this, now you can see only the user have these permissions. Everyone else have no any permission. They cannot read it, cannot write to it, they cannot execute anything. All right. And even I can deny everyone this right. So if I do this 0 and now run this, no one have any permission, as you can see now, to have this X. If I try to open it, I get failed to open this document, so no one can open this. All right, let's get back here, clear everything, and give the permissions back. And before doing that, actually I want to open this file so we can have simple discussion here so we can better understand what is going on, right? So we have read, write, execute, read, write, execute, read, write, execute. The first group, so like this, we have user, we have group, and we have others. All right, so let's come to each one of these on its own. Read, write, execute. Now, change mode, the way it works, we can assign numbers for each of these permissions, right? So read have a value of 4, write have a value of 2, and execute have a value of 1, and 0, like remove all these permissions. So let's leave this alone for now. Now, when I say change mode 777, so this 7 is the sum of all of these values, 4, 2, 1. So these add up to 7. So this means add read, write, execute to the user. The second 7 for the group, and the last 7 is for others. So we are adding here all permissions. Now, if I say change mode 755, for example, in this case, I am adding all the permissions 4, 2, 1. All of them are 7 for the user. For the group, 5, 4, and 1. So I am adding read and execute, but no write permissions, right? I am denying the group and others from this permission. And if I say change mode, maybe 7, 5, 4, right? So in this case, I am giving the user 7. So all these permissions, group 5. So I'm giving the group only write and execute permission. And for others, I'm giving them only read permission. So let me get back here and let's do that. So change mode 754, and then before that, let's see the current permissions here. No permissions at all. All right, perfect. So now let me change this permission to 754, and then file name. Now let's see again. As you can see, read, write, execute for the user, write and execute for the group, and only read for others. I hope this is simple enough for you guys. What else we can do? We can say, for example, change mode 111. Let's try that. So we are only here giving execute permissions 111 content.txt. If we rerun this, you can see only execute permissions. That's it. Or maybe we can say change mode 222, and this will give only write permission. So let's try that. Change mode 222 content txt. We run only write permissions, and as expected, change mode 333. This will give write and execute. So change mode 333 content.txt, and see the permissions, write and execute, but no read. All right, and we can play with these. So you can say change mode, I want everything for the user. I want the group to be able to read, so read is 4, so I will just give them 4. And for others, I want them only to only read. Yeah, why not? So let's do that. Change mode 744, and then content.txt. See the permissions, everything for the user, only read for groups and others. Amazing. Now, this is one way to do that. We can do another way. So let me show you. All right. We can say that the user is you, all users, groups, and others is A, right? And others is O, and group is G. We give them these letters, all right? And as such, we can add permissions. So we can add write for the user, or add write and read, or read, write, and execute. And as such, we add all these permissions. So let's see that. Let's first of all change mode to 000 content.txt and make sure this is the case. Yes, we have no permissions. So now change mode for the user, add read, write, execute permissions, and missing operand after UIX. Change mode help for more information. Yep, I am stupid. I forget the file. So stupid mistake. Anyway. So now let's see. You can see I have added that successfully, and you will see that this is easier to deal with, to be honest. Let's clear everything. See the permissions again. Now what I want to do, I want to say change mode for the user, remove now the execute permission. And I am stupid again. I should add this file and yeah, run this, and you can see no more execute permissions. So this minus will remove the permission, and we can remove all the permissions we want at once if we wish to. So remove this first of all, change mode user, add all these permissions. All right, it's clear. See these permissions, and now I want to say change mode user, remove read, write, execute, and the file. And now if we take a look, we removed everything, and we can do this for all groups and others. So let's see that. So let's add for others add execute. All right, let's run this, see the permissions, and now you can see we added execute permission to others, right? And you can do this for all these different groups. Also, you can use this A. So remember, O for others, G for group, and for all of them we can use A, which is convenient. So what we can say, change mode all, add read, write, execute, content.txt. We take a look, all of them have these permissions, and we can do also, let me just clear, see the permissions, and here say change mode, all of them, remove execute. All right, so content.txt, let's take a look, and we removed for all of them the execute permission. And also we can do something very neat here. Imagine we want all of them to have only one permission, only read, all right, and remove everything else. So first of all, let me change mode 777 content.txt. Here, see these permissions. Now what I want to do is change mode. For all of them, I want only read. All right, so content.txt. If we take a look, all of them have only read. So the equal sign, what will it do here is assign this permission for all of them, but remove all other permissions. So it will keep R, but remove write and execute. All right, guys. Or maybe let's do that one more time, and now assign execute. If we run this and look at the permissions, you can see the read permission is gone, and we have added execute for all of them. Very awesome. Now this is very important for security, especially when we are going to do some penetration testing and maybe you get access to a remote web server and you check these permissions. Man, if you find a file that should not be accessed by others, like configuration files or files that contain passwords, maybe, or log files for the web server, that is an amazing find, and that will be well paid. Yeah, like we will get a lot paid for that, trust me. So anyway, let's clear everything here and show you one last thing, is that we can use this assign thing with not just all, but also for group. For example, first let's see the permissions here. So list permissions, we can see that. Now what I want to do, I want to say change mode. For others, assign read, all right, for the file content.txt. Let's take a look. Now you can see these permissions for the user and the group are intact, but for others, they now have only read, and we remove these. So if you are now responsible on doing some maintenance, some penetration testing for a company, and they tell you, all right, listen, here's the device, do some internal penetration testing. So you need to check for file permissions. This is very important, and as such now you can fix it for these files. Let me show you something also here while we are at it. Content, so let's change mode 777. Let's get these permissions back, clear, and you have all these files inside a web server. Assume that, and you want to fix that. Make sure that all these files are only have the read permission by others, the group others. All right. So what you can do is change mode, others, assign read, and then use a wildcard, then txt. Do that, and now all of these files will have the others group will have only read permission. They don't have any write or execute permissions. So very easy, very powerful thing to do, a very important thing, and this sometimes can happen, especially when the company is building the web hosting, the web server on their own, so they are not making or they are not using a shared web hosting or a third company that can do this for them, build this for them, so they can mess this up and be in a big trouble.